Hey. Thank you, Denise. Let me make sure you can hear me. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Denise. Thanks for being the first one in our.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com.
Hold on a minute. Let me make sure.
Game over.
Let me make sure you can hear me. Okay, you can. Wonderful. Thanks so much for being the first one in our goal there. I've got a lot of stuff tonight. There's 2 trials starting. I'm feeling better. Hello, Linda. So we've got Paul Caneiro. And maybe you remember in 2018, it was a big thing called the Mansion Murders in New Jersey in Monmouth County. And it was 2 brothers, Keith and Paul. Keith was the younger brother. They had 2 businesses together. They had, I love you too. They had a pest exterminating business and an IT business. But as you would think, money. Okay, so Paul started doing funny things with the money. And then Keith was catching on. And so what happened was Paul went over, and we're going to go over all of this. I'm just going over this by memory right now. Paul lured his brother Keith outside. They had mansions. I think they were very close to one another. But he lured his brother outside. I think he shot his brother, but I'm not sure. He could have stabbed him. But then he went inside the house and he stabbed the wife, his brother's wife, to death. Then he stabbed the 2 kids to death, his niece and nephew, 8 and 11. He stabbed them both to death. Then he set fire to the house. I don't know if he dragged his brother back in the house. I don't know. We'll have to go over that. I can't remember that. But he set fire to his house, and that's not the end of it. Then Paul went to his house and set his house on fire. And he set his house on fire while his wife and daughters were sleeping. His wife and daughters got out. And what he made it sound like, and I remember when this happened, so does Jimmy. He said that somebody was out to get the both of them. So he was like, oh my gosh, my wife and kid, could have been killed too. And look at my brother, right? But why wouldn't they have killed his wife and daughters? Why did they allow his wife and daughters to live while whoever allegedly went in there didn't just light fire to the brother's house? They killed everybody first, right? I guess he thought nobody was going to know that the family was killed first, right? Okay. Yeah, OMG, right. Hi, Rosalita. So, anyway, then it goes back that Paul, he had, I believe, on Keith's wife's side of the family, they had like a college fund or something for the kids. And I believe Paul had his hand in that somehow. And Paul was getting wind that Keith knew about this stuff he was doing. And Keith told his younger brother, I think his name was Cody. He told his younger brother that he was going to cut off, I think it was like $225,000 salary of Paul. And he was going to sell the businesses, get out of business with his brother, and just cut him off. And that's allegedly why Paul did this. Now, it's been over 7 years. Last week, they had jury selection, so I think they're ready to roll on Monday with the trial. So I really want to watch this. Then I just found out recently that the younger brother, Cody, and this is a little I just found this out. it sounds like after the murders, he was helping Paul do something about life insurance. That's why Paul allegedly had to kill his brother's whole family, because he would not get the life insurance if any of them were alive. So he had to kill them all. That's why he killed his niece and nephew, and his niece and nephew had like 30 stab wounds. But there was something done, and then the younger brother, he got all the life insurances or something, and then he bought himself a mansion. So it's really crazy, but we're going to go over it all. And then the other thing we're going to go over, which is going to go to jury selection tomorrow, is the Brendan Banfield, and that's in Virginia. Again, this will be memory here. There was a couple, I believe they have one daughter, and they had an au pair from Brazil. It wasn't long before the husband started hooking up with the au pair from Brazil, and then they wanted to have a life together and get rid of their wife, the wife Christine, get rid of her. So what were they going to do? They were going to lure some guy to the house who they were going to, I believe, now again, this is memory here, so we're going to go through this, because this happened at the same time that I knew this girl, where her husband was in the same area and he almost did the same thing, kind of. They were going to lure some guy. I don't know if they used Craigslist. I'm trying to remember what they did, but they were going to lure some guy to the house for some reason. And then they were going to, I believe, make it seem like Christine was going to have an affair or something with him, but instead, and I don't know how, I forget how they were going to make both of them be killed, but I don't know if the plan was that the husband was going to come home and find this guy shooting his wife, and he shot the guy in self-defense. It may have been that. We'll look it up, but whatever it was, it didn't go off as, of course, as planned. But two people lost their lives. This guy that they lured to the house lost his life, and the wife, Christine. And then the au pair in 2024, she pled guilty to, I don't know, some kind of I think she got a deal, and the whole thing is she's going to turn against him. But anyway, we're going to see what happens. But we're going to go through the whole thing of that. And what else? That's good that you feel better. So let me see. Hi. What happened? Oh, okay. Third thing is, the dentist murder. There's some more stuff that's come out. There's a neighbor of McKee, the doctor. She spoke out a little bit, said like she can't even imagine that he would do anything like that. He was nothing but nice and cordial, and they would talk about stuff like in the summer, and we'll go into that. And then there's also there was something else about him, but not too much more on that case. Anyway, so which case do you want to dive into first, the au pair or the New Jersey one? I think we'll do the New Jersey one, maybe. I don't know. It's a tale of three brothers and money going missing. and sneaky stuff. And then, but nobody really understands. Like, people could maybe understand, okay, yeah, he took some money, or whatever. Oh, the other thing is, yeah, this is important. Allegedly, well, Paul, the brother who's on trial in the New Jersey case, he had a bad car crash. I believe it was in 2012. And it was said that Keith, the brother whose family he killed, Keith and the wife thought that maybe Paul was hooked on, painkillers, probably opiates. And that it altered his thinking. And look, then we got like another Murdaugh thing, right? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, what is he? Is he addicted to it? Is he buying it off the street? Now he needs money, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so let's say all he did was the money. But then to just go and kill the family the way he did, stabbed to death an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old, his niece and nephew. Can you even imagine? These kids are like, Uncle Paul, why? What are you doing with that knife, Uncle Paul? It's ridiculous. That's way more than taking some money because he's got a drug habit or something. Or okay, all right. Let's talk about them. It's horrific. Hi, Val. How are you? Okay. Let's get these up, and you'll see. This is a crazy, crazy, crazy case. And I don't think that many people are familiar with it. All right. And the trial had been pushed back. Where are they saying it's pushed back again? Why are you telling me that this is pushed back again? No, you're not. They better not be. The Monmouth County will argue in state on... Oh, no. Okay. That was old. All right. It's... What the heck? Oh, okay. Never mind. That was from September. It's still on. So I was like, don't tell me that. Let me get over here. I want to get some pictures up here. They started jury selection on January 5th, which is, and I believe last week, I think they finally sat the jury. Okay. Let me get, where's my pictures? Okay. So they were business partners in, this is him now, as he looks, Paul, the guy that's on trial. And I don't know if his wife is still with him or what. Okay. He is, I believe, 59 years old now. Let me see. I believe he is 59 now. And this is his brother Keith and his wife Jennifer, who he killed back in 2018. And this is one of the homes. Let me see. This, I believe, was Keith's home. Yes, that was Keith Caneiro's home. All right, so let's take this from the top. Paul Caneiro, 59 years old, is going to stand trial in a Monmouth County courtroom. He has more than a dozen counts of murder, aggravated arson, theft, and other crimes, all linked to the murder of his younger brother, Keith Caneiro, and his family on November 20th, 2018, right before Thanksgiving. Nice, right? Yeah, and this was, I'll tell you, this was right around when the Chris Watts stuff was going on. I probably talked about it on here because that's when the, around the time the discovery in the Watts case was released. It's also getting towards the time of this Frazee murders. So there was a lot going on then, and I'm sure I must have talked about this. If he's convicted, he faces a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole on just the murder charge. The trial is expected to last several weeks. Okay. Now, he wanted to create his own narrative that their family, the Caneiro family, was being targeted. So the prosecutor said this is one of the most brutal cases that I've seen in my experience here. Caneiro's defense team said their client maintains his innocence, and he's waited more than 7 years to have a full and fair trial where the evidence will be heard and evaluated in a court of law. Despite this lengthy process, Mr. Caneiro remains patient and resolute, as well as deeply grateful for the unwavering support of his close family and friends who continue to stand by him. Okay. So the first part of this, this is the prosecution, right? This is all alleged. He's an innocent man until he's proven guilty. But the first part, what the prosecution says of this whole narrative, is that there was a pre-dawn fire at Paul Caneiro's home. That's the brother that's on trial. And so this is in Ocean Township. That's a wealthy coastal enclave of New Jersey, south of New York City. So when the firefighters responded to a report of smoke at the home at 5:01 a.m., emergency personnel found parts of the house in flames. They discovered that there was a red gas can in the driveway. This is all according to the affidavit. And a charred glove on the ground. Now, Paul, his wife, and 2 daughters escaped the fire and parked nearby in a Porsche SUV. Okay? Oh gosh, we got out of the fire just in time, and here we are, parked over here in our Porsche SUV. His wife told authorities she didn't know of anyone who would want to harm her family. Then a little over 7 hours later, authorities responded to a report of another fire. This time it was at the home of Caneiro's brother and business partner in 2 businesses, Keith. Officers found his body in the front yard. Okay, then he never dragged the body inside. He'd been shot once in the back and 4 times in the head, which I guess he must have had a silencer on the gun, because why wouldn't have anybody reported that? But yeah. Then, according to the affidavit, here's what happens when the firefighters went in Keith's home, which you see there, right there, smoking right there. On the kitchen floor, 11-year-old Jesse was found dead with multiple stab wounds. Then Sophia, the 8-year-old daughter, was on the landing of a staircase. She'd also been fatally stabbed. I believe she had 30 stab wounds, if I remember correctly. Autopsies cited smoke inhalation as a contributing factor in their deaths. And then Keith's wife, Jennifer, who was 45, and Keith was 50, was found on another set of stairs. She'd been shot once in the head and stabbed in the torso. Paul was arrested 3 days later on charges of aggravated arson in connection with the blaze at his own home. He was charged with the murder shortly afterwards, and later he was indicted in connection with those crimes and others, including the theft of $75,000 from his brother and sister-in-law. And let me see if I can pull up this indictment. But here's what prosecutors say is the motive for all of this, okay? A barrage of lawsuits were filed against Paul in the years after his arrest, and they offer a window into the financial turmoil that preceded November 20th of 2018. The brothers had long been involved in two companies together. One was a pest control business they took over in 2011, and another one was an IT consulting firm that Keith started decades before. Jennifer, the wife who was killed, her family filed a lawsuit in 2021. According to that lawsuit, that's where it alleges that Paul was seriously injured in a car crash in 2012, which prompted a shift in his personality and his demeanor. According to that lawsuit, it accuses Paul of a breach of fiduciary duty, and it makes other allegations that Keith and Jennifer wondered if he developed an addiction to the pain medication. Now, Paul never admitted or denied the allegations in that claim. In the months before this murders, on November 20th, 2018, Keith started to discover numerous instances where Paul was stealing from their businesses and from him personally. When he reviewed business records, he found that he was misappropriating roughly $11,000 per month for personal use and claiming that it was being used as an insurance reimbursement. So Keith then started the process of removing Paul as a beneficiary from a family trust and made it known that he planned to end their business partnerships. He was trying to sell the business, which Paul objected to, and he was looking for job opportunities away from Paul. Didn't want to be partners with him anymore. On November 17th, 2018, that's 3 days before the murders, Keith told the children's grandfather, now this must be the maternal grandfather because it's Carides is the last name, that Paul stole $90,000 that had been set aside for his kids' college tuition. And on the same day, Keith told that grandfather that he was going to cut off his brother's $225,000 annual salary. Paul wrote in a filing that he couldn't comment on the allegations of the financial crimes because they were relevant to his criminal case. So allegations of this familial maneuvering continued after the murders. Lawsuit alleges that Paul was arrested on the first arson charge. And then the third brother, this is what I mean, Corey, it's now claimed that he acted what they call in concert with Paul to help install himself as trustee on Keith's family trust, even though the lawsuit says Keith made it clear that he didn't want Corey to serve in that role. Shortly afterwards, Corey took secretive and unilateral control of the life insurance proceeds paid out to the trust. Less than a year later, Corey used those proceeds to buy a $1.8 million home in one of the state's wealthiest communities, which is Fairhaven. Okay? Yeah. Here's another look at the burnt out home here. So now As this started to proceed, these legal actions, Paul's lawyers wanted to bar the prosecution from introducing evidence that they believe implicates him in the events on November 20th. So there was a hearing in 2024 where they were arguing that a tool used to identify DNA in the case hadn't been properly vetted. And in legal filings last year, they sought to exclude electronic evidence from trial that they said the police obtained without a warrant. Now, the Monmouth County Judge Mark Lemieux, who's hearing the case, rejected their claims about the DNA tool, which is STR mix. But he agreed with the defense on one point. He said that the authorities improperly seized Paul's home security system. And this would have been a real problem because that proved so much, right? So in a ruling in June, Judge Lemieux wrote that the evidence would be off limits because authorities didn't first obtain a warrant before they searched Paul's garage where the system was kept. Now, the prosecution said evidence obtained from the system helped establish Paul's movements in the hours before the murders. So, he told investigators he believed he turned the system off the day before because it caused his Wi-Fi to run slow. But when the authorities examined the system, they found that it was hardwired, not connected to a wireless network. And the cameras showed Paul walking into the garage at 1:29 a.m., a couple of hours before Keith's neighbors described hearing what sounded like a series of gunshots. So they did hear them. One of the cameras showed Paul walking towards the system. And then at 1:30 a.m., the camera stopped recording. The decision blocking that evidence was appealed to the state's high court, which overruled the lower court's decision and found that the police were justified in seizing the evidence without a warrant. So that's good. Now they can put it in even though they got it without a warrant because they were justified. Now, let me just see something. Okay. Let's see if I can get this. Oh, shoot. Move. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to pull something up here, and this stupid thing just jumped up. Of course. Come on. This is a really crazy case. Okay, let me see if this is what I need. All right, here, yeah, this is why I want to pull this over here, show you this. Okay. Get over there. Okay, this I believe was when they were talking about seizing that stuff without a warrant, but this has some stuff in here. is how they retrieved the stuff that they didn't want to be admitted, but then they appealed it and it was, which is excellent. Maybe this is not what I want. That is not exactly what I want. Hold on. That's about how they got the search that evidence to go through, but okay. This I think is what I want. Let me see. Let's see. Or is this still the same one? Still that one. Okay. This I think is what I want. The all right, here, yeah, let's look at this. Let me pull this over. This one right here. Four deceased victims. Probable cause affidavit. Police identified a total of 4 vehicles at the scene. The Porsche, a 2014 911 Carrera, another Porsche. Okay.
911 Carrera, that's Porsche.
I know.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, the vehicles, the laptop, passport. Okay, yeah, this is how they found. Okay, search warrant was obtained from the Honorable James J. McGann to search the aforementioned vehicles as well as 27 Tilton Drive. During the search of the Porsche Cayenne, a backpack was located containing a laptop, the passport of Paul Caneiro, a 9mm barrel of a Sig Sauer firearm, firearm accessories and parts believed to be used to suppress the sound, so he did have a silencer, and or muzzle flash of gunfire, and a night vision firearm accessory that attaches to a firearm identified as a FLIR. These items were secured by members of the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office Crime Scene Unit, transported to New Jersey State Police Ballistics Lab for analysis. During the investigation into the fire, a large gun safe was located in the garage of 27 Tilton Drive, and 27 Tilton Drive is Paul's. A firearms inquiry revealed that Paul Caneiro had multiple firearms registered to him, located in the basement of 27 Tilton Drive. A vast amount of firearms and a variety of ammunition, including ammunition identified as Finocchi 9mm bearing the head stamp, blah, 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 blah. Members of the investigative team also obtained surveillance from 19 Oxford Drive. This home is located directly behind the Caneiro house and has video cameras on the rear of the residence. According to this video, headlights can be seen exiting the Caneiro house at approximately 2:07 a.m. So they saw him driving, obviously, to Keith's house at 2:07 a.m., arriving back at 4:08 a.m., consistent with the cameras located at 30 Tilton Drive. At approximately 12:38 p.m. on that same date, November 20th, Colts Neck police were dispatched to a fire at 15 Willowbrook Road, Colts Neck. During the course of the fire suppression efforts, 4 individuals, this is his brother's house, were found deceased at the residence. These individuals are Paul Caneiro's brother Keith, sister-in-law Jennifer, 8-year-old niece Sophia, and 11-year-old nephew Jesse. Specifically, the Monmouth County Communications Center received a 911 call from a neighbor of 15 Willowbrook Road, that's again Keith's house, which reported a structure fire at the residence. Shortly thereafter, members of the Colts Neck Police Department arrived on scene. Same confirmed that the residence was on fire and that there was a male subject later identified as the homeowner, Keith Caneiro, 5/14/1968 birth date, laying on the front lawn. During the course of the investigation, multiple shell casings were located. It showed that Keith sustained 1 gunshot wound to the lower back and 4 gunshot wounds to the head. Wow, that's a little bit of overkill there, right? But then again, you've got to see how much rage he must have had because he's killing his niece and nephew with a knife, right? Horrible. Hi, B. Lady Avery. How are you? Hi. Glad you could join us. I don't know if you know about this case, but we're going over it. This is going to start trial. So now, firefighters located 3 additional deceased bodies. Jesse, that's the little boy, okay? He was located on the floor of the kitchen. A preliminary examination performed by the medical examiner revealed that Jesse was stabbed multiple times. Then Sophia, she was located on the landing of the stairs between the first and second floors of the residence. And somewhere that I know I read somewhere it was like 30 times she was stabbed, that little girl. And then Jennifer, she was located on the stairs from that were located leading from the basement to the first floor of the residence. And she had 1 gunshot wound to her head. And then she had multiple gunshot wounds. No, she had, excuse me, I'm sorry. She had 1 gunshot wound to her head and multiple stab wounds to her torso. So I guess he didn't want to, maybe take the chance that she would overpower him or something. I don't, and he wanted, but the kid's terrible. That, oh my gosh, I don't even, it's crazy. During the course of this investigation, detectives learned that approximately 3:33 a.m. on November 20th, the Monmouth County Communications Center received a call from an individual who resides at a residence located at River Edge Drive in Colts Neck that was about 3.5 road miles from the brother's house, right? He said that he heard what sounded like 5 gunshot wounds. 5 gunshots, sorry guys. And fired into the area of Laird Road. And the Colts Neck patrol officers responded, but they were unable to locate the source. But that's 3.5 road miles away. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, that guy has incredible hearing, but yeah, it's obvious that they didn't find what was going on, right? Additionally, detectives located and spoke to a resident of Willowbrook Road who reported that she awoke at approximately 1:30 and could not fall back to sleep. And she reported that she also heard 4 to 5 loud cracks consistent with gunshots, followed by 1 single gunshot. She specifically noted the time as being 3:10 a.m. As displayed on her cable box. She stated that she is familiar with the sound of gunfire as she has encountered hunters near her home. During the course of the investigation, it was learned that Paul Caneiro and his brother Keith own businesses together. We know that, right? But pest control and an IT consulting. members of the investigative team were contacted by EB, who indicated that her husband CC was also, now this is Corey, the brother of Paul and Keith. She told detectives that based on the fact that both brothers' homes were burned, her husband drove their 2 children to Pennsylvania, to her parents' home for safekeeping. Detectives Petrozzillo and Zerillo, that's funny, I know a guy in New Jersey is Petrozzillo. It's very odd, but they were doctors. Petrozzillo and Zerillo drove to meet with CC, who told detectives that on November 19, 2018, his brother Keith forwarded him an email that he sent. Yeah, because see, he apparently sent it to Corey too, to 2 business associates, indicating that there was money missing from the businesses and that Keith would be discontinuing payment to defendant's wife until he could locate the missing money. In addition, Corey reported that Keith indicated he wanted to sell one of the businesses, and Keith told him that he was frustrated with Paul and the amount of money Paul spent from their business accounts. Detectives interviewed the office manager for the businesses owned by Keith and Paul, and she revealed that Keith was the primary owner, 90% of Square One, and that Paul was a minor partner, only 10%. She further reported that Keith and Paul owned Echo Star Pest Management equally. She also indicated that because Paul was deemed disabled due to an automobile accident, his salary was paid to his wife. Okay? The office manager reported that in the past year, Keith has told her to stop payment to defendant's wife because of arguments with Paul over money. This is the Mansion murders in New Jersey. It's going to trial, Sassy, Caneiro, Paul Caneiro. On November 23rd, that's 3 days after the murders, investigators continued to search the home of Paul Caneiro via the search warrant that was obtained. Okay, let's see what else they found here. They had a canine search property. They searched for the presence of blood. The canine creed indicated the presence of blood in the basement of the residence near where the fire was located. In this area, there was a plastic container containing clothing, including jeans and a latex glove with red stains consistent with blood. These aforementioned items were secured by detectives from the Monmouth County Prosecutor's Office, and they were transported to the forensics laboratory. A 9mm unspent projectile was located in the fold of the clothing located in the basement. The casing was identified, right there, GFL 10-9x19. The ammunition was consistent with the ammunition that was located inside the home of Paul Caneiro, located at 27 Tilton Road, Ocean Township, as well as the spent projectile casings at 15 Willowbrook Road. So everything's lining up that this is brother, right? On November 27th, 7 days after the murder, New Jersey State Police DNA Laboratory issued a report regarding DNA testing that had been performed. Based upon a review of the analysis, Sophia Caneiro's blood was recovered on some of the items that were located in the basement of Tilton. So Sophia, the little niece who he stabbed, her blood was found in the basement of Paul's home on some of the items. Okay. Let's see. It was found, Sophia's blood was found in 3 separate areas of the aforementioned pair of jeans, and her blood was also found on a portion of the aforementioned latex glove. Where did they find Paul hanging out? He was in a Porsche with his family because he had this, that they were both targeted, Val, and he set his own house on fire. okay, and pretended that they just escaped out of it. While his wife and daughters were sleeping, he set his own house on fire. Okay. And then they fled out, of the house. Oh my gosh. Got into a Porsche and called the authorities. Hurry, hurry, our house is on fire. Someone's targeting us. I remember when this broke. Okay, so additionally, Sophia's DNA matched a swab taken from a knife recovered at the victim's residence in Colts Neck. Paul Caneiro is charged with 4 counts of murder, 1 count of aggravated arson, 1 count of possession of a firearm for an unlawful purpose, and 1 count of possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose. Okay, and on Tuesday, November 20th, at Ocean Township, smoke inside the residence. Okay, this is about. Oh, this is when. This is when they were called to Paul's house. You want to ask where Paul was? This is where he was. Listen. At approximately 5:01, the Ocean Township Police responded to 27 Tilton Drive, that's Paul's house in Ocean, New Jersey, to report of smoke inside a residence. Upon arrival, emergency personnel observed fire activity located to the rear of the residence. A small fire was also observed on the lower portion of a garage door attached to the residence. The residence was determined to be occupied by the homeowners, Paul Caneiro, his wife Susan Caneiro, as well as their 2 adult daughters, Marissa Caneiro and Caitlin Caneiro. Upon arrival of the Ocean Township Police Department, the occupants of the home were located in a vehicle parked in front of the residence. The house adjacent to the inside location were evacuated for safety purposes. Fire suppression operations were conducted by the Oakhurst Fire Company. Okay, so they're putting out the fire. A red colored gasoline can was located on the driveway in close proximity to the white colored Porsche. The aforementioned vehicle had brown staining on the hood, indicative of likely spot pour burn patterns. A charred rubber glove was located on the ground in front of the aforementioned Porsche and garage door that was burned. So, I mean, is this guy so stupid he left the gas can and the glove out there in the driveway? Oh, maybe he really was touched in the head after that crash, right? Paul Caneiro was determined to be the operator of the white-colored Porsche, which was parked in the driveway. The vehicle was determined to be a loaner car from the Monmouth Porsche dealership, as Paul's vehicle was being serviced. A storage shed was located in the backyard of the property, and the shed was determined to have a rear door which was unlocked. Located inside the shed were 3 gasoline cans. The first 2 gasoline cans were in line with a space separating them from the 3rd gasoline can, indicating that a 4th can had been there but was removed. The gasoline can located on the driveway is believed to be the can that was removed from the shed. Jimmy, you don't have to worry about this. Guy's shed is so organized and clean. They can see it's 4 gas cans, and the one is removed in the area right there where it would be. No, but like,
Jeez,
Jimmy be like, go in, your shed, right? They don't know where the hell your gas
They wouldn't
can.
find anything.
Forget it.
One over here, one behind the door, one down there on the end.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But this guy is probably meticulous.
Oh my God.
Okay. Okay, but see, look, he got caught here, right? But come on. The gasoline can located on the driveway is believed to be that gasoline can. Rubber gloves were also located inside and outside the shed. The residence was determined to have numerous exterior video surveillance cameras affixed to the home. Paul Caneiro later provided written consent to search his DVR system so that the members of the investigative team could review the recordings. But Paul advised that he could not recall if he had turned off the video recording system on the previous day, as he believed it was causing his Wi-Fi system to run slowly. Now, they said this was hardwired. It was never in this Wi-Fi system. So he is a liar. And but the important thing is, because the authorities took the DVR system without having a proper search warrant, it was almost not going to be admitted as evidence for the jury. And the presiding judge said it couldn't be because they didn't have a proper warrant. And then they appealed it to the higher court, and it was let in, which is a very good thing. A review of the DVR system was conducted, which revealed that the last activity recorded on the DVR was 11:20 at 2018 at 1:29 a.m. A review of the camera 3 revealed Paul Caneiro walking into the garage, turning on the light, walking towards the DVR, which is stored in the garage. The this sounds like that lady, the one that killed her hairdresser husband with that DVR in the garage, Monica Simontilli. The DVR stops recording at 1:30 a.m. Although the recordings could be viewed via a mobile application, the video cameras were determined to be hardwired and not internet Wi-Fi based. 2 butane lighters were located inside the home. One lighter was located on a small table within the living room, just inside the front door. Second lighter was located on the living room floor. Personnel with the Monmouth County Fire Marshal's Office responded to the scene to assist with the investigation and determined that there were 2 areas where the fire originated. The first area was on the CD corner of the structure, and the second area was on the BC corner of the structure at floor level. The fire was determined to be incendiary in nature. A portable gas detector utilized by the Monmouth County Fire Marshal's Office yielded positive findings of unknown combustible gases. Samples and controls were obtained from both locations. Members of the investigative team interviewed Paul's wife, Susan. I wonder if she's still with him. In reference to the investigation, Susan reported she's been married to Paul since 1992. Susan advised she and Paul sleep in separate bedrooms within the house based upon marriage difficulties. Oh no, probably not. If they were having marriage difficulties before this, oh my goodness. I doubt she's still with him. Hi, mangonels. Okay, Susan explained that she was alerted to the fire as the house alarm was sounding within the home. She's lucky that he didn't take her out of this, right? If they really were having marriage difficulties and he wanted her out, he could have lit her room ablaze. Oh, I'm sorry, she perished in the fire, right? She's lucky to even be walking around. Okay. Susan advised that after vacating the home, Paul removed their Porsche from the garage and drove it to the street, where the family remained until the police and the fire department arrived. Susan advised that she believed that the video surveillance cameras at the home were operational at the time of the fire. Susan reported that Paul maintains that Paul maintains the cameras. Susan advised that she was not aware of Paul ever turning off the surveillance camera system at home. Susan also advised that there was a Ring doorbell mounted to the front of the home. A review of those recordings was conducted, and that revealed the last camera activation was November 15th. Susan advised she didn't know any individual who would want to cause harm to her or her family or their home. Members of the investigative team traveled to 30 Tilton. Okay, Tilton is the brother's home, right? Now, a review of those recordings revealed that on November 20th, 2:07 a.m., a white-colored SUV believed to be a Porsche is observed driving past that residence heading towards Green Grove Road. Further review of those recordings revealed that that same vehicle returned to Tilton Drive and driving towards the Caneiro's residence at 4:08. That's after he killed everybody in his brother's house. No vehicles are seen leaving the area at or around the time of the fire. So how did he set that fire? It should also be noted that at approximately 12:33 p.m., the Colts Neck police were dispatched to a fire at 50 Willowbrook is the brother's house. So this caught his Tilton car. So this is the brother's house. But he was gone from 2:07 to 4:08. That's when he killed his brother. This is his brother's house. During the course of the fire suppression efforts, 4 individuals were found deceased. The individuals were the defendant's brother, sister-in-law, as well as niece and nephew, ages 8 and 10. Okay. And here's his first count of murder, second count of murder, third count of murder in the first degree, fourth count of murder in the first degree, felony murder, aggravated arson, possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, unlawful possession of a weapon for an unlawful, okay, he's got all these charges on him. What's that?
Accident.
Misapplication of entrusted property, hindering apprehension of oneself. Another one, look at all the, okay, so those are aggravating factors as to count 1. Let's see here. Okay, so it says Paul Caneiro committed the murder as consideration for the receipt or in expectation of the receipt of anything of pecuniary value. And then here, the murder of Casey, which is his brother, was committed for the purpose of escaping detection, apprehension, trial, punishment, or confinement for another offense committed by Paul Caneiro or another pursuant to NJ blah, blah, blah. The murder of Keith Caneiro was committed while Paul was engaged in the commission of or an attempt to commit or flight after committing or attempting to commit murder. Aggravating factors as to count 2. So this is going to be Jennifer. Purposely or knowingly causing serious bodily injury resulting in the death of Jennifer by his own hand. Okay. And the murder of Jennifer was committed for the purpose of escaping detection. So it's all going to be for that. I imagine it's going to go for each and every one of the victims. This is all for Jennifer here. And then Jesse was less than 14 years old. So there's additional aggravating on that, and yeah. So okay, all of this is about his charges here. Let's see what this is. Oh, here's about the life insurance, I guess. Let me see. Within the jurisdiction of this court, a false, fictitious, fraudulent, or misleading statement, material fact to be admitted, that a person attempts to submit a claim for payment, reimbursement, or other benefit pursuant to an insurance policy from an insurance company, or the unsatisfied claim and judgment fund law, specifically by making fraudulent statements to Sun Life Financial Insurance Company, State of New Jersey, regarding the insurance policy of Paul J. Caneiro. Okay. Insurance fraud. 5 or more fraudulent, fictitious statements. Okay, so he's got that. Insurance fraud is his least, the least thing he should be worried about, right? He's got all those murder charges on him. All right, so yeah, so hopefully that you guys understand that a little bit now. That trial starts tomorrow, I believe, with their opening statements. Let me just make sure now. Like I said, it's like feast or famine with trials, right? They're either all going on or not. Opening statements are expected tomorrow. So yeah, I hope that some of you maybe that didn't know about this, or now are intrigued a little bit, and we'll try to watch it. Okay? But that gives you a good background of the case. Probably more than a lot of people have who tune into that on their those court channels. So do any of you plan to watch that now that you know a little bit about it? No, he killed everybody. His brother's whole family. His brother and his brother's family. Everybody. Called the cops on him. He called the cops on himself because he lit his own house on fire and was trying to make it seem that both brothers were targeted by somebody that, had some kind of a grudge against them in business or something, like they were targeted. Do you understand, Val? Do any of you plan to watch this now tomorrow? And I just want to find out if Susan has filed for divorce from him. Let me just see. She's lucky he didn't kill her. Really, she's really lucky he didn't kill her. Okay, here's something, okay? Excuse me. Because they said his close-knit family was sticking by him or something, but here's something that says, here, let me pull this here. Where the heck are my glasses? Paul Caneiro's daughter, Caitlin. Hold on a minute. Let me get this out here. Which, far left in this picture, she is seen with her late aunt and uncle and the two little children who were all slayed at the hand of her father. And here's what his daughter says, Caitlin. She's still haunted by their devastating deaths. Every day, she wrote a Facebook tribute. Now, again, this was posted in 2021, what is going to be quoted right now from me. She wrote this: "Every day I think of you, and I wish that I could just hug you one last time. Every day I think of how unfair it is that you were taken away from us so soon. Every day is a struggle without the four of you. It will never get easier." 3 years, that was 3 years after the murders of her uncle Keith, her Aunt Jennifer, Keith's wife, and the couple's children, her cousins, 8-year-old Sophia and 11-year-old Jesse. And then she went on to say, "Uncle Keith, every day I think of your laugh, and it makes me smile. I miss your corny jokes that you would repeat and still find funny way after it stopped being funny. I miss you calling me to come over because you were cooking, and the only thing you knew how to cook was steak. What I miss most is being able to call you because you always made my silly problems seem like it was nothing." And, yeah, so then she said, "Aunt Jen, growing up, I wanted to be you." Before recalling childhood candy runs and nights out together in Greece. For Jesse, she wrote, "My Jesse boy, you are my person. When I went away to college, you FaceTimed me every week at 3 years old. The thing I miss the most is how you always wanted me to be around." Calling little Sophia my pipsqueak, my mini-me. Caitlin recalls the girl's adventurous spirit, her little pretend heels, sleepovers with stuffed animals, and loud snores. "I wish I could snuggle you one..." I think they mean snuggle. "Snuggle you one last time." Caitlin said she still has visions of her loved ones. "I feel so lost without you. Every time I feel like giving up, you send me a sign or you come to me in my dreams. Knowing you are still with me is what keeps me going." Okay, I'm trying to think here. Trying to see if his wife... Okay, so here's Paul. Hold on a second. This is a picture right there. That's Paul's wife, Susan, on the far left, Caitlin and Paul. And it says that Paul's wife, Susan, has since relocated to Tom's River. And I guess she was reached for a comment and she would not comment. Susan, the mother. Caitlin is a graduate of Seton Hall University and works as a nurse, but she had no further comment about anything. And then there's Paul and Susan have another daughter, Marissa, who's 30. And Paul and Keith's younger brother, Corey, is 51, and he lives in Fairhaven. I guess he still lives in that mansion that he purchased with all of the life insurance, right? He didn't want to comment either. Oh my goodness. And these boys' parents are still alive. Can you imagine this? Sherry and Caesar Caneiro live in Red Bank, New Jersey. They're still alive. Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. So yeah. So how many of you plan? So I guess Susan's left him, and how many of you are planning to watch the opening? I wonder if Scooter's going to watch this trial. If I tell her I am, she won't watch it. So I should just say I'm not going to watch it, and then she'll watch it. Let's see. Where's the... Okay. I bet the uncle was really good to Paul's kids, knowing his brother was an F-up. It'll be on one of the channels, yeah. This is the Caneiro, White Angel. Paul Caneiro. Okay, so yeah, it's on the court channels, Jen. You just do New Jersey versus Paul Caneiro, and you'll see it, whichever one it comes up, Law and Crime or Court TV, or sometimes there's a local network that covers it. It'll be on one of them. Okay, now I hope that some of you tune into that. Now, next, jury selection for this other case out of Virginia. You're welcome, White Angel. Hello. So now we're going to switch. We're going to shift, because, like I tell you, it's like feast or famine with trials. There'll be not one for a while, and then bam, they just throw 3 on that you want to see. So it's always like a crazy house, but it's going to be jury selection for the other one, so it's not going to be competing with testimony. Who got Keith? Corey, the brother, the younger brother. There's a whole thing on that too, Megan Els. It's a mess. It's a mess. He bought himself a $1.8 million home in, what did I just say? Fairhaven. Okay. So now we're going to shift. We're going to go to Brendan Banfield and talk about that mess, because that's going to have jury selection tomorrow. But I really, really hope you guys tune into this Paul Caneiro. Anyway, let me get Brian Banfield up here now. Okay. Brian Banfield. Now, where's my stuff on him? Brian Banfield. Brendan. Why am I calling him Brian? Brendan. Okay, here we go. Let me the graphic ready to put up on this one too. Hang on. Okay, let's put up. This is this au pair. This is a crazy case too. And this is in Fairfax, Virginia. Okay, this is the house over there that this happened in. And this is another case now. We're on another case, okay? The one I told you a little bit, I started telling you about, right? So this is finally set for nearly 8 months after Brendan Banfield's wife and a stranger were killed in the Banfield's Virginia home, February of 2023. This is, this is almost 3 years after this. I don't know why they're saying, is their math like totally wrong? Okay. Anyway, this happened February 2023. And, I see what it, 8 months after the murders, they went up to visit the house again, okay? And they found that to the bedroom that Christine Banfield, his wife, was fatally stabbed in. On the bedside table, there was a framed photo of Brendan smiling with another woman, and that was the family's au pair from Brazil. Okay, so Brendan is going to be on trial for facing a double murder. He's charged with a double murder. The jury selection is scheduled to start tomorrow. Prosecutors say that he allegedly plotted with the au pair to kill his wife, and I told you, like, lure a stranger, another man. Prosecutors say the man had been lured to the home to frame him for Christine's death and to make his own killing appear to be an act of self-defense. Now, Banfield is a former IRS agent. He's pled not guilty to aggravated murder and a firearm offense in the fatal stabbing of his wife and the fatal shooting of Joseph Ryan, this innocent man that they lured to the house. Prosecutors say that Brendan and the family's au pair, Juliana Perez Michaelis, I'm butchering her last name, okay? They were having an extramarital affair. They carried out a plan for them to be together. And the plot features allegations of BDSM, sexual role play, trips to the gun range, false 911 calls, all in an attempt to kill Banfield's wife, Christine, and frame this Joseph Ryan as the person who killed her, and then, again, Joseph Ryan would be killed in self-defense. So the au pair was initially charged with murder, but she pled guilty to a lesser count of involuntary manslaughter for fatally shooting Ryan. She's agreed to cooperate with prosecutors. She's going to turn a state's witness in exchange for a recommendation that she be sentenced to time served, according to the plea agreement. She's likely to be the star witness in the murder trial. Okay, it's kind of like they had to make a deal with the devil, right? Trial is expected to last 4 weeks. Banfield has been held without bond since his arrest. He faces up to life in prison. The case began with calls to 911 from the Banfields' Herndon, Virginia home on February 24th of 2023. In one call, Brendan Banfield told dispatchers he shot a man who stabbed his wife, and there was no forced entry at the home. In an upstairs bedroom, police found Christine Banfield, who was 37 years old, with stab wounds, and Ryan, 39 years old, dead of a gunshot wound nearby. Christine was taken to a hospital, later pronounced dead. Now, the au pair, who was 25, was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and a firearm offense in October of 2023. She's been in custody since her arrest. When police searched the home, they found that framed photo, and here I'll show it to you because it's in evidence. Here is what they found. Right there. Okay, they found the frame photo on the bedside table. A year later, in October of 2024, court records show the au pair pled guilty to involuntary manslaughter. At a plea hearing, prosecutors read aloud a statement laying out the key allegations in the case. As they allege, the au pair began working for the couple in late 2021, and in August of 2022, she and Brendan began an extramarital relationship. In the fall of 2022, Brendan expressed to the au pair his desire to be rid of his wife, and soon after they began planning to kill his wife. Ultimately, Joseph Ryan became another victim in this case. Now, Banfield set up an account on a fetish site called FetLife.com. And he began communicating with Joseph Ryan, and he lured him to come to their home. And Ryan believed that he was meeting Christine for a consensual encounter, okay, involving what they call violent sexual role play with a knife. So they had all these messages, right? So they're going to say, okay, well, he's into this, and then he ends up stabbing her, right? Brendan directs the au pair to talk with this guy and confirm the details, I guess, as if she was Christine. Allegedly, she expressed hesitation with the plan at various points, or so she says, but he insisted she must do it. It's too late for her to back out. And then Brendan allegedly taught the au pair how to fire the gun at a local gun range. As part of the plan, when this guy, James Ryan, came to the house, Joseph Ryan, I'm sorry, came to the house, the au pair called Brendan to report that a strange man was at the house. And he was waiting nearby at a nearby McDonald's so he could return very quickly. This is all from the prosecution. And then they put the child, okay, in the basement, and they went upstairs to Christine's bedroom, and Banfield was holding his service weapon, and the au pair had a firearm that he had purchased a month earlier, and they entered the bedroom, and Joseph Ryan, they say, was holding Christine down, and apparently Brendan called out, "Police officer," and then he shot Joseph Ryan in the head, and Ryan fell off of Christine. The au pair called 911, but ended the call at Brendan's direction. And then she says that Brendan stabbed his wife and saw that Joseph Ryan was still moving and shot him. Again. The au pair then calls 911 again, and they reported the murders as if Ryan was an intruder who had stabbed the wife, according to the prosecutors. And there's a lot more there than meets the eye there, right? So Brendan was indicted on murder charges in September of 2024. The indictment alleges he willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation killed his wife and Joseph Ryan. Now, Chief Davis, the police said, "I knew, I suspected, I had a feeling there was a lot more to what met the eye that morning. And certainly it has taken us down that road where we are finally in the position to announce that 2 persons are being charged and held responsible and introduced to our criminal justice system for these 2 murders. Weeks later, that's when the au pair pled guilty to the lesser charge for shooting and killing Ryan. And then it was said that the Commonwealth Fairfax County Commonwealth's Attorney Steve Descano says today's agreement marks a significant step forward in this case as it's an important development in our pursuit of justice for the victims and their families. And Banfield was indicted on account of felony child abuse and neglect and felony child cruelty related to the murders in December of 2024. His daughter was 4 years old at the time, and she was present at the scene. Okay? So that's what this other trial is about. So they're going to start jury selection on that tomorrow, however long that takes. Probably maybe opening statements Wednesday. I don't know. It's going to be 2 trials going in at the same time, and actually 3 because you got Uvalde. But let me know your interest level if anybody's going to be watching this one. Okay, let's see. And were any of you familiar with either of these 2 cases? I mean, I was. I know that Linda lives in Virginia, and she didn't remember this one right here, but I don't know if she has now. But either of you plan to watch either of those? Any of you plan to watch any of those trials? Hopefully you have a little background now and you might want to watch them. I didn't know either case. Well, how do you feel now, Megan Ellis? Do you think you'll watch either one of them? Both of them? Either one of them? You'll probably watch the Paul one? I'll be watching them both and covering them both. Like I said, opening statements is going to happen with Paul tomorrow morning. Okay, and then the third thing we're going to talk about is the dentist in Ohio, because there's a few things that have come out with that. So let me pull that up. Okay. I believe it's over here. Yeah. Okay, so we have, this guy really looks like a Block character. Block. I used to have a game and it was called Blockhead, and I remember Jimmy took the little sign because he liked it, and it was Blockhead. It was, I don't know if anybody remembers that. I don't even know where he put that little Blockhead sign. Okay. Come on. I'm trying to get this Blockhead's picture over here so we know we're on the Blockhead picture, but it doesn't want to be nice to me, so I'm going to go get it from somewhere else. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. All right, so here's the Blockhead.
Have fun the rest of the night.
Okay. I will. Now, the neighbor is speaking out, and her name is Jera Lind Koleric. She, let me see where they are. They lived in a luxury apartment complex. And they were shocked to learn that the man that lived in that luxury apartment complex with them is an alleged murderer. And she went on to say that the 39-year-old vascular surgeon who was once married to Monique Tepe from 2015 to 2017, did not give off any suspicions when they would see each other on their same apartment block. They lived in a ritzy Lincoln Park neighborhood. She recalled that their interaction with her neighbor was friendly on occasion. The two would make small talk. She says, I sat down with this man. I talked with him at the pool while we were barbecuing. I talked about the weather, if it's a beautiful day. And then he turns out to be a killer. It's kind of shocking, she says. And then she said, how do you explain to a child that mom and dad are here one day and gone the next? Those are the real victims of this whole case, are the children, she went on to say. And see if she said anything else. I don't think she said that much. That was all she said on that one. And so the big mistake, apparently, that got him caught is that police tracked his vehicle through neighborhood surveillance close to the couple's home. Michael David McKee, the doctor from Chicago, was arrested in the execution and killing of his ex-wife, Monique, and her second husband, Spencer, in their upscale Columbus, Ohio neighborhood of Wineland Park. In the end, it was McKee's car. Oh, Roman, you scared the crap out of me. He's licking my ankle. Oh my gosh. It was McKee's car that put him at the scene of the crime through his vehicle, which was seen 325 miles from his home, near the murder scene on December 30th, the night of the murders. And that's in the court documents. Evidence showing that McKee owned the car was uncovered by detectives, leading them to suspect Monique's ex-husband. And then they go on to tell us what we already know, that, and we've already seen this picture of Monique and McKee when they were married, and he was living in Virginia at the time of the divorce. The divorce was believed to be amicable. It was finalized. They had no children together. No motive has yet been given for the murders. He was arrested on Saturday. He was charged with 2 counts of murder, hours after a warrant was issued for his arrest. And he was booked shortly before noon into the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office. And he was due to be extradited to Columbus, where he has a hearing scheduled for Monday. So another thing happening tomorrow. Let me see here. So that's that. Maybe we'll learn some more tomorrow about it. I will still tell you there's something way more that we don't know. Some kind of catalyst. I'm trying to see. Hold on, there's some stuff here. I'm going to see one thing. Yeah, somebody said there is something more to this case. This highly qualified surgeon. Okay, and then they're making, oh, he's not board certified. There's a lot of doctors that are not board certified. Doesn't mean he's like a killer. Some just don't get their board certification. But no, he wasn't. So let's see. But there's also a lot of misinformation circulating. He has no DV. He has no prior criminal history. There is something about a lawsuit, but it's with a bunch of doctors on a personal injury case and is listed with many other doctors in a state that he doesn't even have a license for anymore. So that was not the triggering factor. See, now somebody said this, and this is interesting. Okay, they say he since divorced his subsequent wife. Where did we hear he had a subsequent wife? We didn't hear it from the neighbor. We didn't hear. That could be the chain. He's alone now. He's bitter. Like, I don't know whether this lady is just surmising this. She's like, only people he meets through vascular surgery are elderly folks and nurses who've let themselves go. I think this is all she's imagining this. And he's reminded of his smoking hot ex-wife who's much happier with her gasp, the horrors, dentist husband who this guy thinks he's better than and doesn't deserve to also be called doctor. See, didn't I tell you that? I told you this, and this is about the fourth comment that I've seen, because a lot of you acted like you'd never heard that. You said a lot of them that you don't, that a lot of these doctors don't look down on dentists. And I told you I've seen a lot that have, and they do, and I am not agreeing with what they're saying, but I'm telling you that a lot of these arrogant physicians do look down on veterinarians, they don't believe they should be called doctor. I'm telling you, I've seen this. And now this woman is saying it too. And bitter loves company. He couldn't stand that she was happy. And there was another one that I saw that said that there's a lot of doctors in the circles that look down, and she's with now, a lowly dentist. Not that I'm saying that's my feeling. I'm saying that someone like him could possibly be saying that, because there are doctors that I've personally known that have said stuff like that, and other people obviously have heard it as well. I don't know. I don't think it's a New York thing, but okay. So we'll have to see what happens. Oral surgeon was cocky and looked like he could be on Grey's Anatomy. He can, though, be Lady Avery. You may say they can't, but he can. If he's arrogant, he can. No. I think I'm being so you're not understanding. What I'm trying to say is, and you can, it's on Facebook too. I don't think, for some reason, it's not clear what I'm trying to explain. What I'm trying to say is that I don't think that's why he killed them. I'm just saying that I believe that's probably what he thought. But I'm not saying that's why he killed them. I'm not saying that's why he killed them. I am believing wholeheartedly that there was a catalyst, a big one. Just like that other woman speculated that perhaps he was married and his wife left him, but I haven't heard anything like that. But I think that's a possibility. If he was, I've mentioned that many times, in a relationship, it didn't even have to be a marriage, maybe a relationship that he was planning on a big thing happening over New Year's, and then that woman pulled the rug out on him. Or I've also mentioned, is there any way that Monique could have been speaking with him and he took, maybe there was a medical issue. Maybe she would like a recommendation of a doctor that's going to see their children or something. And she called him, and then he took it the wrong way, okay? Maybe she was being very nice and he took it the wrong way, and maybe he made some advances or said some things, and then she was like, what are you talking about? You know, I can't even be nice to you without you thinking that I want to get back together with you. And maybe she rejected him again. And then that stung. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So I think that there was a catalyst, a big one. This isn't something that he's been holding on to for 8 years. Well, I don't know, B. Lady Avery. We don't know, right? None of us know. We're just speculating. I just don't believe he's holding on to something for 8 years and then just decides that she gets engaged, she gets married, she gets pregnant, she has a baby, she gets pregnant again, she has a baby. None of that set him off. None of that set him off. If I can't have you, no one will, he would have acted way before this. Okay? Because all of those things would have been like hot pokers in his eye. So he didn't react to any of those things. Her being with another guy, her engaged to another guy, her married to another guy, having 2 children with another guy. Of course, it's so easy to find out where anybody is in the United States. You just put in their name. But he wasn't set off to any of that. And now, when you've got, all of a sudden he's going to be like, oh my gosh, you know what? I think I'm going to go travel 5 hours and 5 hours back to go kill them both because I'm upset that she left me. No, I don't believe it. You know, we can all have our own opinions. We'll see. I don't believe it. I think there was something that had to have happened. And I don't know whether it is that, and just because she had to call somebody to help her move out doesn't mean that after so many years they can't be amicable. They said it was amicable. They said that it was never physical between them. Now, Double Cap thinks that he's been plotting forever. But why would he miss all those triggers? You know, that if he was that kind of a guy, those kind of things would kill him. That she's engaged to somebody else, she's married to somebody else, she's having a baby with somebody else, another baby with somebody else. It's simple to find out how to reach somebody in the United States. It really is. All of our information is out there. It's all out there. You got to remember, her husband was a dentist. He's not going to be private. His practice is going to be listed. He's going to live somewhere around where his practice is. Maybe he thought he would be happy by now and wasn't. It could be Double Cap. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think he had a trigger. I think maybe he was going to be happy with someone, something else, and something fell through. And then you had New Year's, And I think New Year's was a trigger. And I think 40 years old was a trigger. He was 39, remember? So you had him going to turn 40. You had the new year starting. And I think something might have happened. Any chance Spencer wanted her and her ex-husband to reconcile and be friendly? No. Why? They didn't. It's not like they were co-parenting. They had no children together. They didn't live near each other. There's no need for them to be interacting with each other. Why? Right? Denali? Megan Ellis's life insurance. No, there's no life insurance. He doesn't have any life insurance on her. They've been divorced for years. If you watch Sleepers, great book. Maybe he never canceled the policy. What you doing, Bubby? What you doing, Romies? What you doing? I don't think so. Maybe he didn't do it. No, he did it. He did it. They've got him. Allegedly. I just think I think there was a bigger trigger. I think there was a bigger trigger somewhere. No, we don't know when his last relationship was. No, I don't think she would make fun of him. I don't know. I just don't think that would be it. But it'll come. I really do think we're going to find out that there was something really big. And you had that in connection with his 40th birthday and New Year's and rejection and but she could have very well, we don't know. What if, I don't know. Like I was saying, I was speculating last night if I said, what if someone close to them died and they reached out to offer condolences or to even attend, let's say she attended a funeral of someone close in his life or vice versa, which would not be out of the scheme of things if she had been close to somebody in his family or vice versa. And what if at that time he thought that maybe there was a little something there? I don't know. And then she rejected him. Or kind of kept him on a little bit of a string because he was grieving and she didn't want to destroy him. Not that I'm saying that she led him on, but just wasn't as abrupt until maybe then he just kept making a fool of himself. And then she finally had to say, look, I'm happily married, okay? Leave me alone. I don't know. Denali says, my hypothesis is that he was infertile, couldn't have kids, and that what's always bothered him. She then wanted to leave him and get with a new guy. Yeah, but she didn't get with a new guy right away. They were divorced in 2017. She didn't marry the new guy until 2020, right? 2021. They were gonna, 2021. So it wasn't that she was running out and with this other guy right away either. And I just don't think, I don't know, I just don't think guys are like that as much. I think women might be more like that about kids. Do we know how he met her initially? They actually dated for 3 years before they got married. I believe we did hear how they met. I think I went over it last night. I believe they were both in Ohio at the time, right? An online relationship? No, it wasn't online. I don't think it was online relationship. I don't think so. I think I went over it last night. I just don't see it festering from 9 years. I don't. Not when, I would say, if she just got married and it happened, maybe. And that would even be a hard maybe for me. But no way, if he was that stuck on this, that he would have let all of these other milestones pass. Her getting with the guy, getting engaged, planning a wedding, having a baby, having another baby. No way, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. What does Denali say? I'm normally always for rehabilitation, but would totally change my mind in this case if he was truly premeditated. Undergrad at Ohio State. Yeah, I think I mentioned that last night. So, okay. I don't see that. I showed the pictures too of them out with the Ohio State shirts, right? Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see him holding on to a 9-year grudge and not have been triggered by any of the other things, which are highly, highly triggering, right? I don't know. I also find it funny that more has not come out about him. I mean, we got one neighbor who gave us like the most sanitized freaking thing, okay? She's an older woman, number one. She's talked to him while he's barbecuing. Oh, it's a nice day out. Oh, that's nice. Where are the nurses that he worked with? Where are, like, any of his patients? And somebody says he's only going to have elderly patients. That's not true. There's a lot of women in their late 20s and 30s that go to vascular surgeons. I read a true story last night about a man who was in his 70s who went to another man's home and shot him as soon as he opened the door. He had bullied him in high school. This was after 50 years. He had to find out where he lived. Okay, that's pretty, yeah, that's a long grudge. But listen, if it was after 50 years, the guy was close to, he was in his 70s, you said, it could be that he was not internet savvy to find out where he lived if he had to wait that long. But I think this guy could easily find out where she lived. Because for the simple fact that her husband is a professional. So he just got to put in, Spencer Tepe, dentist, DMD, DDS, whatever. Ohio, he'd find out where his office is. It's very easy to find out anybody's address in the United States. It really is. Okay, let me go see. I want to just check something else here. All right, let's see. People are like, how did he get in? How did he get in? There's so much mad craziness that's So yeah, there's not, I thought there would be something in here where there would have been some more people that knew him. People are mentioning he was adopted. I don't know where they're seeing this. Okay. Okay, I'm not seeing that. And let me see here. and that that malpractice case, that's back in 2024. Doctors have insurance for that. I just don't see that being anything. There's like it's still moving through very slowly through the legal system. You know, status checks as of 11/24/2025. Let me see what else we got. Cancellations. But that's all handled by insurance companies. It's like stuff on your homeowners, and you know what I mean? That's not doctors. That's why they have malpractice insurance. That I don't think would have triggered him. There were other doctors involved with it. It wasn't like. So I don't think that was any kind of a trigger. Plus, it was in a state that he wasn't even practicing in. Let's see here. It's so funny. There's somebody saying there were some. Now, where did this come out? This is so much misinformation. Michael David McKee admits to entering Monique's house like a grocery store. What did he do while her husband was away? What? So now people have completely gone to another level here, and this is just some of the craziness that's put out there on crazy fake news sites. It's unbelievable. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's anything. I think they're even putting in some pictures. They put some of them in pictures that are a total AI. Hang on 1 second. Charges were changed to premeditated aggravated murder, but then it says, however, that filing is no longer available on the municipal court's website. Huh. Well, of course it was premeditated, right? He had to drive 5.5 hours. What else? Let's see what else we have here. Okay. What are you doing, Romy? What you doing, buddy? What you doing? Yeah, there's not. Neighbor says I sat down with this man. Wow. Yeah, I don't see much anything else that, I mean, anything of real factual information coming out other than stuff like that. Hi, Chrissy. Okay, let's see what you guys been saying when I went over there. Dentists have the highest suicide rate. True fact. Janelle, let's see, what does she say? Ba, 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 ba. I bet the first guy was weird and maybe scary when he was with this woman. She waited till he went to work to leave. It could also be that maybe, okay, it's not always because somebody's scared to leave that they want somebody to be there, or they don't want to see the person that they're with when they're leaving. You've never really heard of someone that knows that they probably should leave somebody, but they know that when they see them, there's still something there, or that person can have a certain look and they fall all over again and they don't leave. You've never met anyone like that, or people like that tell you that I can't go and see them because if I do, it's over. Okay? She'll look at me this way, or he'll look at me that way with those eyes, and I'll fall all over again for that. Or very possibly, they just don't want to have any confrontation. And not that it would be physical, but just anything like, where are you going? What do you do? So it's easier. But it doesn't always mean they're scared of the person. Okay? It doesn't mean they're, and I can tell you that it doesn't mean they're scared of the person. Just, you can't say every person that asks somebody to help them leave, it means they're scared of the person, or they leave when the person isn't there is because they're scared of the person. Wendy Adelson left when her husband was on a conference. Remember that one? A lot of times they just want to just get out of it and not have any, just be able to freely get out of it. But a lot of times, yeah, they don't want to go there because there still is something with that person. And if that person looks at them or something, or vice versa, they'll go back. I know people like that. They tell, yeah, oh, I thought you guys, oh, yeah, but if I see that person, that's it. Then 2 minutes later, we're, together again. And it doesn't mean that they're scared of them. It means that they've got a hold on them, a very emotional and hold. And they can't take it. They don't want to see their eyes. They don't want to see them. They don't want to see them hurt because they don't want to do that to somebody else. They said it was amicable. They didn't say she was scared. Alex tried to text message me almost a year after, so I had to delete my phone number and not respond. Then they're trying to figure out the safest. Yeah, some of them can be leaving for that, but I'm just trying to say, everything is, it's not an all or nothing. Just because somebody calls someone to help them leave when he's not there, it doesn't mean that she was scared of him. There's other reasons. Okay, let me tell you something. Okay, the Reddit post, Be Lady Apiary, there's a lot of people that get some kind of a high off of going into true crime cases and pretending in forums like Reddit and other things that there's someone close to either the victim or the perpetrator. We've seen it a million times. Oh, I went to high school with this guy. Oh, I went to high school with her. Oh my gosh, she used to be my babysitter. Oh my gosh, she used to... And we found out a lot of those people are not who they say they are. You have to be real careful. Take it with a grain of salt, because there are those people that love that 15 minutes of fame. If she called him about a recommendation, I can understand his frustration. I don't think he would be frustrated that she called for a recommendation. What I'm trying to say is, possibly, what if she called him about a recommendation, and then he just started talking to her, and somehow he thought, oh, wow, she likes me again, or something like that, and got mixed signals. And then when she had to let him down again, it really hit like a ton of bricks, because there was something else going on. Maybe he got rejected by somebody else. Maybe he had these big New Year plans with somebody else. Maybe he thought he was going to be getting engaged. All of this before his 40th birthday. The 40th birthday could be a huge trigger for some people. A lot of people have life plans on that 40th birthday. I'm not offended, Be Lady Apiary. I'm not offended at all. That's totally fine. Everybody can have their own opinions. But that 40th birthday is a huge trigger for a lot of people. How many times have you heard somebody say, I thought I'd be this far along by this 40th birthday? That 40th birthday could have been a big trigger for him. And maybe when he was 35 and he was 32 and he was thinking, okay, well, yeah, I'm 32. I've got a lot of time before I'm 40. So, yeah, I'll find somebody by the time I'm 40. That 40th birthday in and of itself could be a huge trigger. Well, I didn't say I can't. He's 39 years old. So we know his 40th birthday is coming up. I didn't try to look for it. I'm sure I could find it. You can find just about anything on anyone in our country. We have no privacy here at Be Lady Apiary, where it's not like the UK or Australia. It's so much of our information is just out there. But a lot of people, hold that up. I don't know. That's right. Don't estimate the big 40 for some. Yeah, right. The big 40 for some people is a big giant milestone, and that could have been a trigger. But it also could have been you had it. It was going into the new year. let's just say, who knows? What if he was catfished by somebody? What if he was freaking catfished by somebody? What if he has been talking to somebody and he had planned to go somewhere with someone and he planned all this stuff and he felt, you underestimate, I got you double. And then he had planned all of this stuff and then found out this person wasn't who they said they were. What about that? Yeah, I guess I don't know. We all have to wait. I mean, it's okay. Everybody's opinion is valid. Nobody's knows what happened. We're all just surmising based on our own experiences and our own situations that we know. Yeah, I don't think that that's the case. Yeah, I don't think that's the case about that yeah, about the disease. You've been catfished before. It totally sucks, especially when you talk to them for a little while and they've told you it's been a lie. The guy I was talking to told me that he was get this, we haven't heard anything about DNA or fingerprints, gunshot residue, or anything else. 6'2", turns out he was more like 5'2", wide. It was horrible. Nothing about him was right or correct, but that was a long time ago. I wondered if he hired someone to do it, just brainstorming. But his car was there. Why would he put his car there? That's what led the investigators right to him was his car. If he was going to hire somebody, well, why would he want to make it look like his car was there? You would think he would have rented a car or taken, right? Or something, taken public transportation. They look like a place where there would be public transportation, right? So that he wouldn't have his car in the area. The car alone doesn't mean he's guilty, but the car coming into that area and leaving that area right about the time of the murders. And we don't know what they have on surveillance of going into that. They've only told us or shown us one thing. We don't know what they have. They haven't shared all that. We don't know what it was. We don't know what it was, his car. No, they said it was his car. Yeah, they said it was his car. Which is kind of ridiculous, right? That he drove his car. And then the firearm. Okay, we don't know. They haven't told us that he owned the firearm or they found, ammunition at his house. We don't know any of that. None of that. None of that. Well, he really wasn't too smart in, that car. At least if he had hopped on a train somewhere else. You know what I mean? I mean, but it's just ridiculous that he drove his own car that he knew could be picked up in a license plate reader. Interviews with defense attorneys say the public should pump their brakes. Excuse me? Interviews with defense attorneys say the public should pump their brakes. No, it is his car. I just told you. Let me see here. Earlier, let me see here. His big mistake right here. Hang on. McKee's car arrives just prior to the homicides and left shortly after, detectives noted in the court documents. The vehicle was later found near his workplace in Rockford, Illinois. Evidence showed McKee owned the car. That was uncovered by detectives, which led them to suspect Monique's ex, according to the court documents. So yes, his car, yes, it was seen coming and going, and then back in Illinois. I want to see one thing here. Look at Williams. Hang on a minute. Hang on one second. Okay, hang on 1 second. This is strange. One sec. Where did she just say this was? Okay, 1 second. That's all right. So a friend of the post from a friend of her parents. Um, but she didn't say anything when the ex was arrested, except, like, thank goodness or something, justice, but she didn't say. Okay, let me see something else. All right, let me see here. So he lived in Lincoln Park. That's where that neighbor, he barbecued out there. He sat with her out in the pool. What else? In a high-rise apartment in the sky. Doesn't. Okay. Who wrote this? Now, hang on. Somebody wrote something. See, these are people, okay, like you say with Reddit, there's people on Facebook saying, Michael's actually a family member. Okay, my heart stopped when I read this. When we were growing up, I was always amazed at his kindness and how gifted he was. See, but we don't know who this is. That's what I'm trying to say. He can 100% just be a keyboard person wanting 15 minutes. And for somebody to think they're so important and to talk to them and message them, and there's people that get a high with that certain thing. And I would say, don't even entertain this. Don't. You know why? Because this person's giving way too much information. Way too much. They come out of nowhere and they say, oh my gosh, I'm a family member. Okay. And then they write 10 paragraphs about, come on. It's screaming fake. I won't even entertain. Not at all on that one. Let's see what else. is that? That looks so fake there. Celeb News Today. Oh, that sounds a very reputable site. Some of this stuff in here is ridiculous. Okay, she even paid for her own engagement and wedding rings. And this one says, it was a doomed marriage and divorce revealed. I mean, okay, if you guys believe that because somebody paid for the engagement and wedding rings, it was a doomed marriage and divorce. Number one, there's a lot of independent women that will do things like that. Okay. Second of all, there could be reasons why she had to do something like that. It doesn't mean their relationship was doomed. That didn't mean it. It could mean that if he's in medical school and he didn't have a lot of money because he was still in medical school at the time or whatever, or, still not making a lot of money, and that it, or they decided to put that down. That alone doesn't make somebody's marriage doomed unless you believe that, if the man pays for it, then it's not doomed? That's the most ridiculous thing. You don't think there's people that have been married 50 years where maybe the wife had to get the wedding ring or the engagement ring because for some reason the guy didn't have the funds to do it at the time, or she felt independent and wanted to do it, or like what? I just don't understand this elementary way of thinking. I'm not saying you guys. I'm saying who's ever writing these things. It's just so amateurish. Everything is all or nothing, and there's nothing that's that way ever. People that got married with a freaking cigar band and they're married for ever. I mean, it's just dumb. It's just really dumb. But that's your opinion, Denali. But then a very independent young woman could say, no, I'm going to get my own. You know what I mean? But to say that it was doomed because of that's ridiculous. Double Cap says, I don't think it was doomed because it says she paid for the rings, but I do think it was doomed for other reasons. Yeah, but not because of the rings. Come on. Maybe they bought each other's rings. Right. But even if they didn't, maybe there was a reason. Okay? Maybe everything he had was tied up in investments. Maybe he did. What's the hell is the difference? That's not what's going to doom a marriage. Unless someone's going to throw it back in another person's face. But if they're okay with what they're doing, that's not what dooms a relationship. That's ridiculous. That's like saying, oh, I'm in love with this guy, but he can't get me a $40,000 ring, so it's just not going to work out. Yeah, it was doomed because he couldn't give me the $40,000 ring that I wanted. I don't know. It just sounds so freaking superficial. What I'm trying to say is if something is meant to be, it's going to make it, whether she buys the ring, he buys the ring, they have a cigar band, or they have a Cracker Jack ring. No, I'm so tired of the always or nothing. because it just sounds so amateurish. Like, I don't know. Like, I just there's a lot of exceptions. Don't you learn that as I don't know, as I get older and you know, you get more wisdom and you see a lot of different things, and everything isn't all or nothing. Yeah, maybe you romanticize all of that stuff when you're younger, but there's a lot of things. This was a second, no, this was her first marriage, but you know, I mean, come on. Exactly, double. They're not making real money until after residency, and there's a lot of educational costs and things like that. But I'm just talking about these stupid headlines, B Lady Apiary. They're just dumb headlines. It's really dumb. In fact, I probably heard more like genuine stories the other way. You know what I mean? Where people have said, oh my gosh, haven't you heard the stories where like somebody had to get married with either like somebody's really like a Cracker Jack ring, and then later on when they start doing better in life, and then they buy the diamond ring or whatever, and the woman, I forget who told the story. She said she still had more. What? Oh my gosh! What word am I looking for? Oh my gosh! What? Sentimental value on the fake like Cracker Jack ring that they got married with, because this is why, like, a lot of people say, I miss the hungry. Haven't you ever met couples that have made it big? And one of my friend's mothers, she told my father, she said, you know, he saw her one day and, you know, she had her, we lived in a very affluent area of New Jersey, and she had a new Mercedes and everything. And my father started, hey, how you doing? And she said, my father came home and he said, you know what she said to me? She said, you know what? I miss the hungry years. She missed the hungry years with her husband, because now that they were making all this money, things were way different, and he was traveling way more, and he had to do, they weren't seeing it, and that's what she said. She said, you know what? I miss the hungry years. And there's a lot of people that are really sentimental about stuff like that, because that's when, like, that's like that thing that Scooter and I were talking about, that woman that sold her hair, that story, right? The woman that sold her hair to get the husband the watch strap, and he sold his watch to get her the hair combs. It's that kind of thing, right? Because they're going to get married no matter what. Oh, we can't afford a diamond. I don't have this. Well, let's get married with a Cracker Jack band. Because it shouldn't be the ring that makes your marriage. If it is, that's pretty sad. It should be the love. It should be the kind of thing, we'll live in a tent if we have to. I love you kind of thing, right? It shouldn't be, oh my gosh, you know, you can't get me that ring, or I have to help with that ring. I mean, yeah, it's just, let's see, I'm going to see what you're saying. I had me a thin gold band, and sometimes the other spouse takes up the slack till the other one starts working. Yeah. Uh-huh. And let's see, where he grew up in Zanesville, it's not an affluent area. There's folks with money everywhere, but without knowing more about his family, that part of Ohio means the majority of folks that are not affluent. The gift of the Magi. Yeah, exactly. Val says, I never did get the diamond ring. I didn't care because an out-the-door chick that would rather have the date, almond ring money, and go on a trip. Yeah, and there's a lot of people like that, Val, right? The hungry years are when you get close. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I don't know. I just saw the headline. It just sounded so stupid. So, big deal. Like, it should be no big deal. Let's say she loved this guy. He had no money. Okay? Let's say he wasn't even going to be a doctor, but he had no money, but he loved her. Okay? And she had some money. He paid for what he could, but oh my gosh, I can't afford the wedding ring or the engagement or whatever. Oh, let me get it. If they truly love each other, it shouldn't make any difference. And really, who would know it unless, it's written in these papers later on, but I can bet there's people that have been married their whole lives, maybe, that are in a similar situation. Denali says, I would never get married to a guy that was broke. And that's your prerogative. That's totally your prerogative. What about those people that have a $50,000 wedding and then they're divorced a year later? Yeah, exactly. Right? Or whose guy bought the diamond ring and the wedding ring and he beats the hell out of her on the wedding night. Right? I mean, it's just like it can never be all or nothing. Like, if there was a recipe that, oh, listen, hey, to have the great marriage, you just got to make sure if he buys you the ring and everything, it's ideal. Yeah, you may say, okay, well, that's what, I expect, or this and that, but it's like, there's a lot of people that don't do it that way, and they'll even tell you that they miss those times. But I know, I wish I could think of the story now, but the lady that they had a cigar band. The cigar band was the freaking wedding ring. And she had more sentimental value to that cigar ring than when they could afford the real ring. Because that's quite the story. Isn't that more true love? Somebody's going to marry you when you can only get them a cigar ring, but she still loves you enough to marry you? That's something. There's a lot of people that think a man's way of showing how much they love you is based on how much the ring costs. Yeah, but I don't know. That's just a material thing. You know what I mean? It's more about, some guy could go out and, like I said, and buy you the most beautiful ring and all of that stuff and beat the crap out of you on your wedding night. Remember the Titanic movie? That guy, right? What was that? The Diamond of the Ocean or whatever the heck he had. But yeah, remember how he banged on that table? And didn't he hit her? That's the kind of thing. Yeah, he could afford to get her whatever the freak ring. But would you want... Look at that. That Titanic is the perfect thing. Jack had no money. And she was attracted and in love with him. And then the guy that had all the money in the world, he was a bastard, and she didn't want to be with him. So, but, people get a ring tattoo, yeah. But I wish I could remember the lady, the one that got married with the cigar band. women like what are dumb? The one that likes the guy named Jack instead of the one that could give her all the money but treats her like crap? Oh, they always snatch the big diamond ring back. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, but she threw it all, the heart of the sea, she threw it in the ocean at the end. She threw it in the ocean. Because Jack went down to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, I don't know. It's like they always tell you, right? Like, oh, if you tell your son, see if the girl loves you, if you tell her you're going to bring her here, there, like, or everything. Nobody wants their son with somebody that just loves your son for money, right? Do you want that? Like, does any mother want that for, like, no. If you saw a girl that was only interested in what your son could buy them, that's pretty lame. Yeah, the whole thing is sad. But it's not because of a ring, or she bought the ring, or he. It's just, I don't know. I just, this fake news is just too much. Oh, some women think that way. Yeah, some women think that way, and I think I'd much rather see a woman that wouldn't think that way, or would be happy with a cigar band, or say, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do whatever. That's not important than somebody that is. And I would actually say, if she's going to marry you with a cigar band, then she really must love you. You know? Sometimes, what about women that have a diamond in their family? Danelli, that's your prerogative. That's great. A lot of people marry for love too, and there's a lot of people, especially when they're going through medical school or going to college or going to graduate school, they don't have a lot of money. Lawyers, you hear that all the time. Doctors, and they can end up making a lot of money, earning a lot of money. But when they're starting out, they may not have a lot of money. They may not be able to afford a lot of stuff. A lot of doctors and lawyers don't start affording stuff until they're out of school and they're in practice. Doctors, they're in their residency and all of that stuff. They don't start making that money. Be a truth teller. I appreciate it. That's fine. Everybody can have their own opinion. But I'm just trying to say, what about a woman that's got the engagement ring? Let's say it's her grandmother's. Well, then he didn't buy the engagement ring. They're using a ring she had, right? Doesn't mean their marriage is doomed. She has to buy the wedding ring. Doesn't mean it's doomed. He buys her the ring. He uses his grandmother's ring. Doesn't mean it's doomed, but it could be broken in each case, right? It shouldn't come down to the ring, and if it does, then there's something way more. that's wrong with the relationship, is what I'm trying to say. You know? It's something, there's something else going on. Sometimes people have a diamond that's in the family and the guy gets the setting, but he doesn't buy the diamond because the diamond's in the family, right? There's so many different case scenarios. It's ridiculous. But the whole thing is, if it's coming down to the ring, then there was a problem with the relationship. It's not the ring. It's not who paid for it. It's not how big it was. There's something else. Your first love, you traveled all over the place for 3 years. It was the best time of your life. Yeah, and there's a lot of young couples like that. A lot of couples just starting out and they don't have, you know, and I don't know. The bottom line is, if it's a ring one way or the other, there was something really flawed in the relationship. I think we probably can all agree on that. Maybe. Maybe we can't all agree on that. I don't know. Maybe that's too hopeful. I just think that headline just irked me. Starting to think this surgeon guy might be innocent. Oh my gosh. There's no motive. I think that, well, Denali, that's why I think there's something more that we don't know. I think there's something way more we don't know. I think that, come on, he's holding on in 9 years. I've said, no, I just don't feel it. No way. You could try to convince, you know, like in the Reddit they say, convince me of this or convince me of that or change my mind on this. Try to change my mind that I'm supposed to believe he's holding on to 9 years of a grudge on this, that he's going to kill them, but oh, I'm sure they have more evidence, Denali. But I don't see that it's, oh my gosh, that it's that. We didn't have anything but our clothes, our van, and our dog. Yeah, and those are probably great times, right? I hear so many couples tell such stories when they didn't have anything. Oh, do you remember that time? And we lived in this little thing. We didn't know, and those people came, and we had the food. I've heard so many stories about stuff like that. Look at the people that lived through the Depression, right? And lost everything. I don't think it's the motive is not, if they have the evidence, the motive is nothing. They have all the evidence. I mean, It's a pretty long grudge. Yeah, to spring into action all of a sudden. That's what I'm saying. I think there was something that reignited it. And I just think that we don't know what that is yet, though. Because it's to me, it's too long of a time. Build a bridge. Get over it. You know, they're going to tell, build a bridge, for crying out loud, and get over it. She's not with you anymore, okay? 9 years is a freaking long time. They haven't said that about the video. They're have it on the car, and but they don't have to put everything in an arrest affidavit. And a lot of times they don't put it all in an arrest affidavit. Now, you don't know what could be on his phone, right? They've got his phone. Did it put him in the area? Did it put him at the house? Do they have that he turned it off at a certain time? If he brought his car, is it freaking possible that he had his phone with him? If he brought his car? I mean, even Jodi Arias rented a freaking car. Even that Buzzard lady rented a car and changed license plates. You're telling me this guy came down in his own car, put himself at the crime scene? Come on. Photos, doulos, right? He parked his car away, had a bike. Oh, no, he didn't even have his car, right? He had that guy's truck. And he had a bike in the back. Remember? He parked away, grabbed the bike, and then hightailed it to the wife's house. Yeah, that was the case, Jodi Arias, sure. But you're telling me that this guy just thought, okay, I'm going to bring my car? Like, I mean, could he have been going down there for anything else? Any other reason? Was he going to bring Christmas cookies that he didn't get to deliver? I mean, I don't know. Oh, Romy, baby. Watch out, sweetheart. I don't know. It's just weird. The whole thing is weird. Weird. The astronaut woman did that too. She drove from Florida in diapers all the way to Tennessee to kill her astronaut ex and a girlfriend. She used her own car. But she never ended up killing them, right? Didn't she not go through with that, White Angel? I think she didn't go through with that. That's when everybody was freaking about the diapers, but she didn't kill them, right? She changed her mind and drove all the way back? I believe that's what happened there. Romish. I believe I can find. Yeah, I think that's what happens. I'll be right there. I'm getting something. But yeah, I don't think she killed the guy. And I think she turned around and went all the way back. I believe. Hi, Heartmay Wives. She drove from Houston to Orlando in a bizarre diaper-wearing disguise to confront him over her relationship with the astronaut. Pled guilty to... Wait, but she didn't kill him, right? Lisa Novak. He's played it smart by not doing big press conferences. We won't get to know the evidence. I don't know. We'll see. Shipment was either her. Who was seeing her? Oh, she attempted to? She confronted the woman? I thought she went all the way and turned around. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't be in a car awake, pissing my pants in a slushy diaper. Yeah, that would be gross. Did you ever view Deadly Wives on YouTube? Mm-mm. Especially the one with the Marlboro Man? No, I didn't. I don't think so. Is it a movie? B-Lady? I don't know. Doesn't sound familiar to me. Deadly Wives? I remember this other one, this crazy one when I was in high school. This guy was a doctor, and he put his wife in all these horrible situations. They said it was based on a true story. We watched it here one time as a movie. It was from when I was like a junior or senior in high school. Oh, it was Deadly Intentions. It had Cloris Leachman in it. It was terrible. Terrible. He put her in a pond, like in Florida, right? And he knew it was infested with alligators. And he told her, hurry, hurry, swim. And there really was an alligator behind her. And then he used to tell her that I know just how far to put safety pins in you, that it won't kill you. And so, oh, he was terrible. And she thought he was poisoning the baby, and then she had to leave him. Hi, Jem. She attacked his girlfriend, his wife to be, his fiance. Okay, I don't remember. But she didn't kill them, right? I'll have to look at it, B-Lady Apiary. He broke up with her and she went crazy. I don't know. I don't know what bit this guy. I want to watch that trial tomorrow about the New Jersey case. That's a long time coming. I want to watch the one with the au pair, that guy. I think I'll make a prediction right now. They're both going to be found guilty. And then this tomorrow, I guarantee it's probably going to be a very, very short hearing. You know, who's he going to be represented by? You think he's going to have a really high-powered lawyer, or he's going to have, what do you think he's going to have? Going to have Alan Jackson on it? Maybe that's why Alan Jackson had to drop Nick Reiner. No. I don't know. But tomorrow's going to be a busy day. Trying to think of something else. So buttons on a shirt. Something happened there. I don't know what it is, but something happened. It has to be a catalyst. It's just, I mean, there has to be a catalyst there. Has to be. No, she didn't kill them. But that's the most memorable case of all, the astronaut in the diapers. I just can't, I seriously just can't. Like, I'll be washing dishes sometimes, and that will count into your mind. You'll just start laughing. That happened to me today. I don't know what I was laughing at, but I just bursted out laughing, thinking about something. Now I can't remember what it was. And for crying out loud, you know, I'm going to say something. If I didn't want to stop to go to the bathroom to pee, why didn't she get a camping toilet with plastic bags or something? Why did she have to wear diapers? That's gross. That's really gross. They have those portable camping toilets. She could have traveled with one of those. Gone into the back seat, used it. Come on. You're going to sit in a wet diaper? That's disgusting. Maybe she had a fetish or something. Who knows? There are people that have fetishes like that. They said he has a court date tomorrow, though, Double Cap. I thought they said he has a court date tomorrow. Disney, let's say. Lincoln Park surgeon charged with killing his ex-wife. Okay. Here's the building that he lived in. Allegedly. Allegedly. Looks like that is called the Pierre. Let's see here. And it's looking like you could get a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square feet for $408,000. That's not. I don't know. That's not that. That's nothing like New York City prices, and it doesn't look that. The kitchens look very dated here, and what they're showing here on Zillow. For this building. Let me see if I can pull this over there. Crying out loud. Here we go. Pull this over here. When we get to the kitchen, it looks like these used to be probably oak cabinets painted white, just based on that this is very dated, this right here. And square on the bottom like that. So it's not looking like luxurious or upscale. It looks kind of middle, right? In fact, some people will call this is more updated, but still, it looks like these. I don't know if that's just the angle of the picture. It looks like they're falling off, but it doesn't look all that luxurious. And are these the barbecues that, but this lady says she sat down with him in the barbecue. Okay, I don't know. It's not being billed over here as luxury. It says luxury mid-rise. But I've seen other apartments be listed as luxury. If you're looking in New York City or something, yeah, I don't know. Let's see here. Where the heck are you guys? Before he's in Columbus, or maybe he's been extradited. I don't know that part. Traveling up into space at 9 Gs, and then you break the sound barrier. And what? Like diapers. Yeah. I know I probably need a diaper. I was on a space shuttle blast off. Oh my goodness. You'd have to check your britches for sure, huh? Yeah. I wouldn't go on a space shuttle if you paid me. I don't care how much money. You would never find me on one. You know, think about the children. No, never. You would never find me on one. Ever. That is nothing that I ever want to do. Go into space. Ever. Oh my gosh. Ever. Just absolutely never, ever, ever, ever. Okay, let me see something here. Listen to this. Okay, listen to this. It says, speculation theories mount as Tepe murder investigation continues. So it says, we haven't heard anything about DNA or fingerprints, gunshot residue, or anything placing him inside. Oh, is this Coffindoffer? Who's doing this one? No, not it is, who's saying this? Let me see. Oh, a criminal defense attorney, Brad Koffel. And he says that what else does he say here? There's a prior relationship, a divorce history, some disputes, but those are not elements of murder, Koffel said. What else did Koffel say? What else did Mr. Koffel say? The burden of proof lies with the state. Yeah, we know that, Mr. Koffel. As a high-profile case continues, Koffel advised caution. There's a lot the public, the prosecutors, and especially investigators are going to need to tighten up. Do the tighten up. Yeah. I think it's good exercise for everybody to just pump their brakes here a little bit. Oh, is that what you meant? Oh, okay. Pumping those brakes. Pumping the brakes. Hmm. Yeah, McKee is due in an Illinois courtroom on Monday for an extradition hearing to be returned to Columbus. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll have to see, right? So there's a lot on tap for tomorrow. Good night, Linda. Carolyn, if you had to pick, which would you pick? Going up to space in a rocket or jump out of a plane with only one parachute? Wait, what do you mean? That I'll have one parachute on me when I jump out? Or that there's only going to be one parachute for all of the people on the plane and it's going to be luck of the draw? There's no way in the world, White Angel, that I would go into space. Never. So I jump out of the plane with a parachute. There's no way I would go into space. Zero, zip, nada. Not happening. Double Cap says, I might turn in soon. I followed on and off a long time, but I never chatted. Was thinking of Shanann yesterday because her birthday and saw you covering my hometown. It's because of Shanann that I found you. Oh, then we're very lucky, huh, Double Cap? Thank you for finding us. Where's your hometown? Which one was your hometown? I'm trying to think what cases I this one, but didn't I have this is the only case I was covering yesterday? I think so, yeah. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I'm glad you joined us. Don't be a stranger. Let's do the word game because I have to get up early for the trials and everything. I never knew Shanann, but I subscribed to Sandy's Kitchen, and Shanann was the special. I followed her. Replaced Costa. Yeah, Sandy was here last night with the auction. Sandy's a good friend of mine. She's a very special lady. She's the only one that has been cutting my hair for the last, I don't even know how many years. Other than me, in between. Okay. Other than me. Daily puzzle. Sauna. Mall, yeah. Slam RN. Alumnus, yeah. You're in Columbus. Look, you guys rhymed. You're in Columbus. You're an alumnus. Uh-oh. Wait a second. What did I do there? What happened? Oh, it's not there. What did I do? Mm-mm. Hi, Marianne. You got it, Marianne. Yeah, hi, Marianne. Better call Saul. Good job, Marianne. Oh, lasagna. Come on now. Come on now. We just have one more here. What's this last one here? A tried that, didn't I, Heart? Mala. Mm-hmm. There's no two S's. What is this? I tried Luna double cap. Double cap didn't work. Wow, it is llama without the two L's. Isn't that crazy? Very good. Heart. 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 Let's see if we can get any of these ones that we were waiting on here. Val. Oh my goodness, Val. Well, we're not going to get this one. Where's our Murder of Crowsies? Murder of Crows, I hope you're okay. Haven't seen Murder of Crows in a while. Have we seen Murder of Crows since New Year's? I hope they're okay. Anyway, that's it, because I'm going to stay here playing this forever, and you guys are going to be keeping me up all night, and I can't do that. And then you guys, don't I sound much better tonight? Don't I sound much better? I feel really good. Good night, White Angel. Good night, everybody. I love you. God bless you. Sweet dreams. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging out. Appreciate you. Everybody is important and everybody's opinion matters. We'll see you tomorrow. Be good. God bless.